Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. River and I are headed north to the land for the weekend, and originally we were going to go to the Bigfoot conference, but plans have kind of changed, and the dinners were sold out, and so then it was just left to the general admission, which was just vendors and stuff like that. So River and I decided that we were just going to go up to the land instead, and today it is like 85 degrees and super humid. So we just stopped along the way, and I wanted to give River a chance to exercise and empty and maybe do a little swimming. So one of the reasons that I didn't go up to the land originally was because it was supposed to be really rainy and stormy. But then the weather forecast kind of changed and it looked like it was going to be decent. But now it looks a little stormy again, so oh well, we'll make the best of it. River does not like to swim, so that's pretty good. Good boy, River! There's a good fetch stick. There's a good fetch stick right there. Right there, ready? Good boy. Good boy, River. Good fetch. Now you're gonna stink up the van, aren't you? It's gonna be all wet in there. Good boy. Oh, don't do it. Don't do it like that. Not on the point. Oh, you're gonna jam it in your mouth. Oh, I hate when you do that. Reamer, Minnesota, home of Bigfoot. So apparently there were some hunters from the cities that had their game camera set up just north of town here and caught what they say was a Sasquatch on their game cam walking through at about 2 o'clock at night. So the town has inherited Bigfoot as their town mascot. There's little Bigfoot things all over. There's the Bigfoot Motel. Well, welcome to the cabin, everybody. I'm excited to be back, and this week we have a special guest with us today. Say hi to everybody, River Dog. I got my boy River with me. The kids and Em were gone for the weekend. The kids are working, and Em went to town for some shopping errands. So there was nobody home with River, and it's pretty hot out, and I didn't want to leave him stuck in the house all day with no one to hang out with and play with. So I decided he could come up north with me to the land. So this time I'm going to finish a project that has been the bane of my existence. One of the easiest projects I could have, but has turned out to be one of the most pain in the butt projects. But I've got this, the last bolt of the picnic table project. I even bought 2 of them just to be certain. So we're gonna knock the picnic table off right away so I can scratch that off the list, and then we're gonna look at this roof. Just so you all know, these videos are for entertainment purposes. They are not meant to be instructional or educational in nature. I know zero about building and zero about construction, and that's probably become very evident in my previous video. So what I'm working on is an Amish shack, the shell of a shack. That I had delivered to my property, and the plan is to build this up into a livable space that will be a 4-season space. Now, obviously, since I don't know anything about builders, I guess I kind of look at this video series like this. It takes a village, and I guess that would make me the village idiot when it comes to construction and building. So that's where you guys all come in. Now, I've had some really constructive comments in the last couple of videos, and you guys, I really, really appreciate that. Please don't stop doing that. I'm kind of relying on your feedback in a lot of areas because I know there are literal experts that will probably come across this video and they will know the exact answer to the problem that I'm having. A lot of times I do get contradictions in suggestions, but you know, when that happens, I just have to kind of work through the middle, do some more of my own research and try to find what's going to work best for me. So as most of you know, the dilemma I've been having is how to insulate this vaulted ceiling. This will be, for lack of better terms, a cathedral ceiling. And one of the things that I'm going to do this trip is to put some insulation up in here. Now, thanks to some of the comments from some of you all, I feel it's really important to have some sort of airflow in here. And Longbeard, you had asked about soffits. And no, there are not soffits. However, I don't know if you can see, there are, because this is just a shed, there are gaps. Now, my plan was to spray foam those gaps and then obviously insulate and vapor barrier so that there was zero airflow or permeability to have condensation. But I may end up putting soffits in. I'm not sure. I'm going to look at it this trip, and for better or for worse, something's going to happen this video. Now, I have done some more research, and there is a term called a hot roof, which is what some people do when they make vaulted ceilings or cathedral ceilings where there's no space for, there's no attic space. It's just, you know, shingles, sheathing, insulation, vapor barrier, sheetrock, or siding. The problem is that's not ideal, and that can harbor a lot of issues from what I'm starting to learn. Number one, that warm, moist air can travel upwards. It can condense against the cold roof, causing moisture, which then, because it's trapped, can cause mold issues and premature dry rot and things like that. Or if it's not moisture that gets through, if you have vapor barrier, just the super heat can shorten the life of shingles. It can affect your timbers, things like that. So definitely not great scenarios. But in some situations, you might not be able to have an airflow. So one thing I'm going to look at is somebody had suggested, I think Longbeard has suggested screening those gaps. I think I'm going to try to get up on the ladder or something, although I don't think I have a high enough ladder this time. But I want to look under that ridge cap and see how far back that really goes. Maybe I can just put like ridge cap mesh in there, or maybe even just like steel wool or something. The problem with an Amish made shack is it's not meant to be a house. So if I was going to do this, I would have had that, you know, they make that mesh stuff for tin roofs that you put underneath the bumps so that it keeps critters out. Like right up in here. And to be honest, I don't think they put that in here. And I'm gonna have to get up on a ladder to look, but I think that these roof gaps go all the way up to that space in the ridge cap, which means there's a lot of space for stuff to live up in there. So I may end up pulling this up and putting that styrofoam or that mesh material in here. If it's not, it could be in here and maybe it's just further back and I can't see. I'm not sure. I don't see any light poking through there, so it very well could be in there, but I just want to make sure. All right, so that's a long story. So anyway, I'm only up here for about a day and a half, and so that is one of my top priority projects, is to knock the picnic table off, which should take about 5 minutes, and then decide what I'm going to do in the roof here. So stay tuned. All right, I wanted you all to be able to share in this momentous occasion the finishing of the picnic table. It's only taken, what, 2 months? 3, 4 videos? Oh, it fits. Well, first of all, I got a bolt. And it fits. Well, it connect underneath. Oh, yeah, almost. You gotta be kidding me. Just kidding. Gotcha. Huh. Seems it's off a little bit. Oh no, that'll be fine. That'll be fine. You guys all thought I was serious, didn't you? All right. Final nut. Final nut. Well, there's probably one left. I feel like a nut after this stupid project. Helps if you go the right way. Lefty loosey, tighty righty. It is finished. Finito. Yes, finally. Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, I'm feeling a little goofy. It's like 80 degrees and the humidity is just, I'm just gonna be drenched. The dog is dying. It is just horrendous. There's not a breath of breeze. And of course the shack is suffocating. It's supposed to be like 60 degrees tonight though, so it's supposed to cool down. So I just gotta make it that far. We might have to swim in the meantime. All right, picnic table is done. I've got this nifty little fan set up off my battery. This is just a computer fan that I had pulled out of a computer back when I used to scrap computers. I always thought, you know, you could sell the electric motor in there. I think at the time it was like 15 cents a pound. So this is one of the components that you would save. And I saved a couple of them just because I thought it would be fun to mess around with the fan. And in fact, I even saved one out of a server too. That's a bigger fan that I'll maybe hook up. And it actually blows quite a bit of air. I think it's running at a lot more RPMs than it would in your computer, because it's not regulated at all. It's just pure power. But and just so you know too, this battery power station that I have, it has built-in fuses. So that's why I don't have inline fuses between here and the lights or here in the battery, which you really should. The other nice thing is it has this test button and a little 12 volt outlet, and it's really on both sides. So it's really kind of a handy power station. And it makes for easy charging with these posts. You can just clip the battery chargers on there. You never have to take it out of here. It's just one of the battery boxes made for fishing for like trolling motors and stuff. So I'm not endorsing any brand whatsoever. It's just something that the idea is really practical. I tried fishing, but that was pointless. Every time I cast it out, River would jump out and try to catch my lure. So now we've just been playing fetch for a little bit till it cools down. But he doesn't like to swim, so you can see all the fetch sticks out there that he's failed to retrieve. What's this? Hey! Yep, too deep. Apparently too deep for him. Alright, so the interesting thing that I wanted to show you was I was standing here and I saw this plant with flowers, and I'm like, hey, that reminds me of peppermint. But there's some other plants that look like this that aren't peppermint. So I grabbed a leaf and smushed it up and smelled it. And oh, it smells so good. Totally spearmint or peppermint, I'm not sure which one. But one of the big ways that you can tell the difference between this one and lookalikes, I think even catnip even looks like this a little bit. But mints have a square stalk, and you can see how the flowers kind of go along with the leaf growth. So yeah, now I know where to get peppermint. There's a few plants in here. I might see if I can try to transplant some. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Then we have some fireweed. The bees have been working on this, and I'm not sure what those are, but I got a few of them. We've got some milkweed going here. You can see the flowers are done there. I don't see any caterpillars on them though. Tansy, which is an invasive species. When I was growing up in Cloquet, Minnesota, we had these everywhere. In all the disturbed areas we had tansies. And then I found out that they're not even a native species. Yeah, raspberries, lots of stuff in here. Lots of fireweed too. So next year I might try to make a fireweed jelly, and I guess I can come here. Bees are loving it. Just hardly a breath of wind tonight. Chill, chill. And you get some really nice small kindling for the starts of the fire, or for the wood stove. Well, we need to make a decision on this one way or the other, because I've been suffering from analysis paralysis for, oh gosh, 2 weeks now. We gotta do something. But the one thing that I know that I have to do is what would be a soffit. There is no soffit vents, but there are some gaps from just where the wood was nailed together. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through and I'm going to gap seal those with spray foam. And we'll go from there. There's that gap right there. All right, from here on out, you're just gonna have to take my word for it, because I'm not gonna wreck another camera. Yeah, I'm glad I got the cardboard down because I'm dripping all over. All right, so I got that whole side except for one cavity foamed. So I had to foam two places, one along the bottom and one along the top of that cavity, just because there were gaps from where the board was nailed. You can kind of see the spray foam in there maybe. But one thing I can tell you is there was a ton of moths in there. So the critters are definitely getting into this crack. You can see a moth up there actually. So eventually I could always put soffits in here if I wanted to. I could cut that out. But at this point, I don't think I'm going to do that unless something drastically changes. I've kind of put a heading for a course at this point, and I feel like I'm just gonna follow through with it and go with it. The other crack was where the boards meet the siding. I had to gap fill that. You can see a little bit of a gap fill came out of there. So there's all these spaces that are not only losing heat, allowing moisture in, but also allowing critters in. So right or wrong, I feel okay about it at this point. And one can did almost the whole section, so yeah, that's pretty reasonable so far. So, all right, I need to take a break and get some cool air, and I'll see you in a bit. So I have officially opened Pandora's box. I was thinking about putting up the insulation. And I do plan on doing tongue and groove up the walls, and then this flat spot where the roof braces are, I plan to run a flat board across, and that's where I'm probably going to hang the lights and a ceiling fan. So I figured I would probably put like a 2x4 brace on the back side of those rafter braces, and that's what would be the stuff that would hang like the lights and whatnot from. So I still have to build up the 2x4s to make this level with the stud wall. And I still need to do the roof ties before I can put the insulation in. So every time I think I know what I'm going to do, as I sit and think about it, there's like 3 or 4 more things that have to come first or will come later, and the things that I do now will affect what I do later. So when I say Pandora's box, it's basically like, I thought I was just gonna like throw up some insulation, but no, I have to think about the lighting, I have to think about the final cathedral ceiling board, I have to think about the roof ties, I have to think about how it ties into putting more studs in there. If I run sheetrock up here, I still have to put the extra boards, and so I can't nail any insulation into there. So nothing is ever easy. Maybe if you've built like a ton of houses for a living, or you're a construction guy, it's all second nature and you know this stuff because you've done it like 1,000 times. But like for me, doing it for the first time, it's just like, like, I think I have something in hand and there's like 10 other things that have to come first, or there's like 10 other things that I hadn't even thought about. So once again, it goes back to analysis paralysis, where do you think about it to death or do you just do it? And if you just do it and you do it wrong, is it going to be a catastrophic failure or is it going to be okay? And the thing I have to remember is this is a shack. This is going to be my cabin. This is not going to be my lifetime home. Like, this is going to be lived in for months at a time, or weeks at a time, or days at a time. So when I think about that, like, it's not my only defense. It's not my only thing. This is not my survival. So I can afford to make mistakes, right? Construction is like, you have to like have this big picture, and you have to like, it's not like immediate 10 steps, but it's like this big picture. You have to know what the hell you're doing. That's where you guys come in, because I gotta admit, I know nothing about this and I have no idea what I'm doing. So I'm dependent on you guys to help me out with this. So please comment down below in the section and let me know what I'm doing wrong and how I can do it better. But be nice, please, because I just don't know, and I'm asking for your help. So yeah, help me build this cabin. This will allow, in each cavity, you can see that there's not a lot of airflow in between the cavities, but what I showed you on the tin, the air, oh, look at all the gaps in there. Well, that's where we're gonna fill. Yeah, gosh, I should have put the stud board in there though. Doggone it. Well, I ran out of staples. That's what happens when you try to do everything with free stuff. So the staples that I had were not the right size to fit in my staple gun, so I'm been stymied. So we're gonna make some supper. So tonight on the menu, we are gonna have some canned venison. What I am going to do is I'm gonna make the gravy in the saucepan, throw in the venison, which is already cooked, to heat it up. And then we're gonna cook some mashed potatoes and maybe some spinach. This is a deer that we shot up here 2 years ago, I think. I'm not sure if Hunter shot this one or if I did. We're gonna cook this up. The gravy's gonna thicken nicely. Somebody's pretty interested in this. A little bit more water in the mashed potatoes and they look like they're doing pretty well. The gravy's starting to thicken up a little bit. We're gonna let that cook a little bit longer just to hydrate that venison. And well, what do you think about that? Some instant mashed potatoes with cheddar and bacon, and some venison, canned venison with some gravy, brown gravy mix. Well, that looks absolutely delicious. And River is super mad because I haven't fed him yet. Well, he ate already, but he hasn't got any of this, so he was pouting. And then I told him no, so he went and pouted and ran into the van. All right, let's dig in, guys. River Dog, ready to eat? I thought so. Catch you guys in a little bit. Well, hey everybody, I've been doing just a little bit of work in here without you, but I couldn't find my staples and I finally found them. So we're back in business, but I wanted to put in some 2x4s up at the rafter peak. For number one, because I'm going to be putting the boards up there for the tongue and groove, and I need a place to nail them. But also, I think I'm going to have a light fixture or a ceiling fan up here, and I need to be able to attach it to something flat so I can build a box out of that. So here's what I decided to do with the roof ordeal. So I have gone through and I have put spray foam in all the little cracks and crevices of the soffit, and I did not do any more filling of the ridge gap. I'm gonna leave that open, and I may pull that foam out that I put in there. I guess you guys have convinced me that we need some airflow, so that's what I'm gonna go for. Longbeard had a good suggestion, was to put in soffit vents, just the little 2-inch round holes. So I think I'll probably do that eventually. But for right now, I'm just gonna get this insulation hung up just to get it out of the way and get it up there. And then next time I come up, I'll look at polying and probably drilling those soffit vent holes. So that's what we got going. Well, I'm almost halfway done. I have to put some 2x4s up there before I can put the end pieces in. So about halfway. All right, well, it is about a gazillion degrees in here, and River wants to go home. So I'm gonna sign off for now. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon.